here we are, years later, Alibaba proposing this secondary listing in Hong Kong. Why now?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Emily. If we step back for a second, Alibaba is essentially facing two dimensions of regulatory risk, right? First, they're getting fined or punished by domestic regulators for monopolistic practices or even creating national security risk, given the large amount of data that they have, right? On the second hand, there is a risk of getting delisted from the United States sometime in 2024 because of this Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act, an act that is essentially threatening to exclude Chinese companies of U.S. exchanges unless they comply with clear auditing rules that apply to all US listed companies. And I think this dual listing move is first and foremost a hedge against the delisting risk, but it can also help a little bit with the domestic regulatory risk, right? So on the delisting front, we've seen some willingness from both China and the United States to resolve the conflict. Actually, just a few months ago, the Vice Premier Liu He gave a speech where he expressed China's willingness to cooperate on this issue. However, the reality is that a smooth resolution is not a foregone conclusion just yet, and the risk of Alibaba, and for that matter, other Chinese companies, of getting delisted of US exchanges in 2024 is still real. On the domestic regulatory front, I think that we've seen some positive signs lately regarding the easing of the tech crackdown. And I think that by making this move, Alibaba can probably win some positive favor coming from Chinese regulators. So, China clearly is hoping to preserve and build up Hong Kong's status as a global financial hub, and having mainland tech giants fall back onto the Hong Kong Stock Exchange is clearly in line with those goals.
What do you think this means for other U.S.-listed Chinese companies? I mean, are we going to see a slew of relistings?
Yeah, this is probably going to encourage the roughly 200 US-traded Chinese ADR companies to follow suit, right? From e-commerce platforms like JD.com or Pinduoduo, or even China's search engine giant Baidu, EV company NIO. This move could definitely help solidify Hong Kong as an alternative venue, and it's likely going to encourage more activity over the next few months.
So what do you see is next here in terms of Alibaba's evolving relationship with its own government, the Chinese government, which, as we know, over the last couple of years has been incredibly challenging?
I think that's one of the main reasons of this primary listing in Hong Kong, right? I think Alibaba is definitely trying to work closer with the government in many regards. We're already seeing a lot of policies implemented by Alibaba to comply with this umbrella of common prosperity regulations in China. So I think most likely over the next few months, we'll continue to see these large internet companies working closely with regulators to avoid all of these regulatory risks that we face as investors over the last few years.